Boker Tov, Be'ezrat Hashem, we are doing the Daf Yomi, Masechet Avodah Zarah, Mem Gimel Amud and Mem Daled, the Daf Mem Daled. So we're starting from the Gemara that we said in the Mishnah that when a person has Avodah Zarah, what does he do? He has to grind it up and then he throws it to the wind. Okay, and Rabbi Yossi said, that's what Rabbi Yossi said. And the Chachamim told him, wait a second, but when you do that, you're using it as fertilizer and it shouldn't be allowed because you're benefiting from the Avodah Zarah. Gemara, Tanya, Amar lahem Rabbi Yossi told them, Ve'alo kvar ne'emar, ve'et chatatchem, אשר עשיתם את העגל, לקחתי ואשרוף אותו באש, ואכות אותו טחון היטב עד אשר דק לעפר, ואשליך את עפרו אל הנחל היורד מן ההר. So we see that what? When Moshe Rabbeinu came down from Har Sinai, the first time, and he saw that Bnei Israel, unfortunately, they did the Egel HaZahav. What did he do? He took the the Avodah Zarah, he ground it up, it says, and then he threw it into the river. So we see over here that what? That here, this is the perfect way to do it. So Rabbi Yossi says, wow, why are you attacking me? This is what Moshe Rabbeinu did. אמרו לו, so Chachamim told him, משם ראיה, הרי הוא אומר, וייזר על פני המים, וישק את בני ישראל, לא נתכוון, היה לי לבדוק כאן כסוטות. So he says over there was different. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu, it says that he took the water and he put some of it inside. He took some of the ashes, put it in the water, and he used this water to check them like the sotah. We know that the sotah, what happened? If the husband suspected her of not being faithful, so he would take her to the Bet HaMikdash. They would do a whole process over there. Part of it was they would take water, they would take earth, they would take the name of Hashem, mix it together, have the woman drink it. What would happen if she drank it? So she would, Hashem Yishmor, she would explode, right? So this is the same thing over here. Moshe Rabbeinu did with them when they did Avodah Zarah. He gave them to drink, and if they did the Avodah Zarah, if they worshipped the idol, so then they exploded. So the Chachamim say, why are you bringing a proof from Moshe Rabbeinu? Moshe Rabbeinu used this water in a very specific way to check them like sotah. אמר להם רבי יוסי, so רבי יוסי told them, והלא כבר נאמר, וגם את מעכה הסירה מגבירה, אשר עשתה מפלצתה. Okay, so there was Ma'acha, the mother of Asa HaMelech. Okay, that she was the queen, and then she made an avodah zarah, or she made like a sort of avodah zarah towards the molech. Now, what did he do when he became king? So he took this avodah zarah and he ground it up and he threw it. Okay, he threw it out in Nachal Kidron. Vayidek vayisrof benachal Kidron. He ground it up and he scattered it in Nachal Kidron. So we see that you're able to do that. We're not afraid of benefiting from the avodah zarah. Amru lo misham raya. You're bringing a raya from over there. Nachal Kidron eno megadel tzmachim. Nachal Kidron doesn't have any plants, so it makes sense why he threw it over there. Why? Because now you're not benefiting from it if nothing grows over there, so there's no problem of fertilizing it. Says the Gemara, Velo, what? It doesn't grow any plants in Nachal Kidron. V'hatanya, elu va'elu mit'arvin ba'ama, v'yotzin l'Nachal Kidron, v'nimkarim leganin lezevel, u'mo'alin ba'em. So it says that the bloods that would come from the Mizbeach, right? So they would mix together, meaning all the bloods, they would end up mixing together, and they would go to Ba'ama. There was a special you can say, stream that they made, an Amma wide. That's why it was called Amma. And all the blood from the Mizbeach, they would take it and it would go basically out of the Bet HaMikdash, and it would go to Nachal Kidron. From there, they would sell this blood as fertilizer. And if a person used it without buying it from the Bet HaMikdash, it would be me'ilah. He would be benefiting from the hekdesh without paying, and it's going to be asur. So we see that what? we see that Nachal Kidron, because it would get to Nachal Kidron, and they would sell it over there as fertilizer. So we see that Nachal Kidron was able to grow plants, and we just said before that it didn't. Says the Gemara, מקומות יש מקום מגדל צמחים, ויש מקום שאין מגדל צמחים. There are places that in Nachal Kidron that can grow plants, and there are places that don't grow any plants. And we're saying that when he ground up the idol and he threw it in Nachal Kidron, he threw it in a place where it didn't grow any plants. Okay. Now the Gemara is going to focus on the Avodah Zarah of Ma'acha. So it says, "My miflatzta." What was this? What was this miflatzta? Like, what was the Avodah Zarah called her mifletzet? Amar Rav Yehuda dehava mafli letzanuta, because it would show people how absurd her you can say her worshipping of this idol was. Why? Keditane Rav Yosef, like Rav Yosef taught, kemin zachrut astala v'haita niv'elet lo bechol yom. She made the Avodah Zarah have like a male organ, and every day she would be together. She would be together with this Avodah Zarah. That's why they said that they would make fun of her for this. Amar lahen Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Yossi told them, "V'alo kvar ne'emar v'kitat nechash nechoshet asher asa Moshe." So now the Gemara is going to focus on another proof that Rabbi Yossi is trying to say, that you're able to grind up the Avodah Zarah and you're able to throw it to the river, to the or to use it, or to throw it to the wind, even if it might be used as fertilizer. He says that we know that Moshe Rabbeinu in the Torah, there was a period of time where there were snakes biting the people. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, "Aseh lecha nechash nechoshet v'sim oto al nes." Make yourself a copper snake and put it on a stick. Derech Agav, if you guys ever paid attention, what is the symbol that they always put on pharmacies, on ambulance? A snake on a stick, right? Where did it come from? The Torah. We see, huh? Yeah, we see that it came from there. So Moshe Rabbeinu, he made this. Now the problem was, later on in the generations, people started worshiping this snake as Avodah Zarah. So what did Chizkiah Melech do? Okay, Chizkiah, it says that he took the snake and he ground it up. Okay, Amru lo misham raya. You're bringing a proof from Chizkiah. והרי הוא אומר, doesn't it say, ויאמר השם אל משה, עשה לך שרף, לך משלך, ואין אדם אוסר דבר שאינו שלו. והתם בדין הוא דכתת, לא הווה צריך, אלא כיוון דחזה, דכתה, הוא ישראל בת רע, עמד וכיתתו. So he says over there, what was the case? Over there, the case was that, again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, עשה לך, make for yourself, meaning, this nechash nechoshet, this copper snake, who did it belong to? It belonged to Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay. Now, the halacha says that a person cannot come along and make something of someone else's asul. Meaning, if a Jew is going to come along and start worshiping as Avodah Zarah, let's say this object over here, right? Since it doesn't belong to him, he can't make it asul. So the whole concept of the snake being asul, being Avodah Zarah, doesn't exist. Why? Because it belonged to Moshe Rabbeinu, and no one else can make it tameh besides. No one else can make it Avodah Zarah besides for Moshe Rabbeinu. So the fact that Chizkiah ground it up didn't have to do with the fact that it was Avodah Zarah. It was just to stop Bnei Israel from doing the Averah. So therefore, that's why he ground it up. But maybe if it's real Avodah Zarah, he won't be able to grind it up. So now we're going to try to bring another proof. Amar lahem. So Rabbi Yossi told them, "V'alo kvar ne'emar, v'ya'azu sham et atzabehem, v'yisa'um David v'anashav." Okay, so it says over there that David HaMelech, he was fighting with with the Pirishtim, okay, and they left their Avodah Zarah over there. They were running away from David HaMelech and his army, and they left their Avodah Zarah. So it says over there that David HaMelech lifted them. Umay mashma dehai vayisa'em David lishna dezeru Yehu. Okay, so says the Gemara, how do you know that when it says Vayisaim David, it means that he threw it to the wind? Okay, Kidimitargem Rav Yosef, because like Rav Yosef gave the translation that what? Tizerem veruach tisaem. Tizerem is you scatter them, veruach tisaem, and the wind will carry them. Umtargemin, and what was the targum over there? Tizrinun veruach titlenun. You will scatter them, and the wind will carry them off. Okay, so we see that the word vayisaem comes over there, what means that it was scattered. Okay, says the Gemara, no, why not? Amru lo, misham raya, from there you're bringing a proof. Va'arei omer vayisarfu ba'esh. Okay, and they were burnt in the fire, meaning they burnt these avodas on the fire. Umidelo ketiv, and the Gemara explains, and from the fact that it didn't say vayisrefem vayisaem, he burned them and then he scattered them. Shemamina vayisaem mamash, he actually carried them. Okay, so says the Gemara, Mikol makom kashukaya adadi. Regardless of however you look at this, it looks like the psukim are contradicting each other. Why? You have one pasuk that says that they scattered them in the wind, and then you have another pasuk that says that what they carried them. How are you going to How are you going to answer that contradiction? Answers the Gemara. Kid Rav Huna, like Rav Huna. Kid Rav Huna Rami, like Rav Huna asked the question. Keti vayamar David vayisrifu ba'esh. It says that David said, and they burnt it in the fire. Vikti vayisaum, and then they vayisaum we translated before was they scattered them. So how do you answer this contradiction? He said, Lakashya kan kodem sheba itay agitim. וכאן לאחר שבא איתה יגיתי, דכתיב, ויקח, okay, so the difference was that what? Before Ita Giti came and after. Ita Giti was a non-Jew, okay? He was very close with David HaMelech. And what he did was that when David HaMelech had an Avodah Zarah or whatever it was, so Ita Giti was, since we learned previously also, that a non-Jew is able to be Mevater Avodah Zarah, even of another non-Jew. So Itai Giti, in the beginning, David HaMelech, what did he do? It was the Avodah Zarah of the Perishtim. So he burnt them. Okay, he burnt the Avodah Zarah. And then when Itai Giti came, he canceled the Avodah Zarah. And then they were able to Vayisaum, they were able to carry them, meaning to say that they were carried and not scattered. Okay, they actually took them for themselves because Itai Giti made it kosher for them to have. How do we know this? דכתיב, ויקח את עטרת מלכם מעל ראשו ומשקלה כיכר זהב. That David HaMelech, he took the crown, okay, that he had, that the non-Jewish king had. Kanileh was also for Avodah Zarah, okay, and it had a kikar of gold weight. How much is a kikar of gold weight? It's about, I saw it's about 64 pounds. Okay? 25 kilograms, yeah, about 64 pounds. Okay? So that's how heavy the crown was on top of the Avodah Zarah. Now, says the Gemara, Umi Shari, how can he do that? Isure hana'aninhu. It's asur ba'ana'a. You can benefit from the crown. It's Avodah Zarah. Amar Rav Nachman, Itai Hagiti ba ubitela. Itai Hagiti came and canceled out the Avodah Zarah. He broke off a small piece, and therefore he made it kosher to be able to use. Says the Gemara, Mishkala kikar zahav. The weight was 64 pounds. How was he able to put something like that on his head? It's so heavy. How are you going to be able to carry it on your head? Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav, Re'uya lanuach al rosh David. Because it was fit, okay, to rest on David's head. Not that he actually put it on his head, but rather that it was fit to rest on his head. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina Amar, Even sho'evet hayta ba, dehava dara. There was a special magnet attached to this crown, or not attached, but there was a special magnet that came with this crown that allowed whoever it was to wear it. Okay? Rabbi Elazar Amar, Even Yikara Haita Ba Sheshava Kikar Zahav. So he said, Rabbi Elazar said, not that the weight was a kikar, zahav, not that the weight was 64 pounds, rather there was one stone on the crown, okay, a small stone, not a heavy stone, that was worth, that this stone itself was worth, kikar zahav, was worth 64 pounds of gold. Okay? Now, the Gemara is going to discuss this crown a little bit. Zot hayta li ki fikodecha natzarti. David HaMelech says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is what I merited in thanks to keeping your words. Maika Amar, what is he trying to say? Hachika Amar, this is what he's saying. Bischar shepikudecha natzarti, in merit of me keeping your laws, Hashem, zot hayta li leedut. I had this as a testimony. My eduta, what is this testimony? אמר רבי יהושע בן לוי, שהייתה מניחה במקום תפילין והולמתו. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says that what? That he would put it in the place of the tefillin, okay, and it would still fit him, okay. So he would have this beautiful glorified crown, and he would be able to put it together with his tefillin. Says the Gemara, wait a second. If he put the crown in makom tefillin, v'habai anoche tefillin. Where is he going to put the tefillin? Amar Rav Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchak, makom yesh barosh shera'ui le'aniach bo shete tefillin. There's enough space on the head to be able to put two tefillin. So therefore, David HaMelech, what did he do? He put the crown in the front, and then he put the tefillin right behind it. David HaMelech, yes. Back then, that's what they would do. Back then, the majority of the people, they would wear the tefillin all day. Okay? ויוציאו את בן המלך, ויתנו עליו את נזר, את הנזר ואת העדות. נזר זה כלילה, כלילה עדות, אמר רב יהודה אמר רב, עדות הוא לבית דוד, שכל הראוי למלכות הולמתו, וכל שאינו ראוי למלכות אין הולמתו. So now the Gemara doesn't really explain this, but the story was like this. There was what's her name? Amatlai? No. There was Mikitsu, there was one of the wives of the king of Israel, okay, that she was also a sort of descendant of Bet David. Now, what she did basically was she wiped out the entire house of Bet David, besides for one, meaning one kid, one of the descendants of David. He managed to hide. Where did he hide? He hid in the Kodesh HaKodashim for 7 years. There was a small thing on top of Kodesh HaKodashim, and he hid there for 7 years. Now, what happened was that when he came out, so no one knew, like, was he really the king? He's really Malchut Bet David. They're still putting someone on the throne. Okay. Now, what happened was that one of the ways that they proved that he was really the sons of David and he was really Ra'ui leMalchut, okay, was that they put this crown on his head. And this crown that David HaMelech had, it had a special, you could say, a miraculous feature to it, that whoever was really fit to be king from Malchut Bet David, the crown would fit their head. And if they weren't fit to be the king, the crown wouldn't fit their head. So it says it was a edut, it was a testimony to show that whoever was fit to be a king from Malchut Bet David, he would wear this crown, and if it would fit his head, we would know that he was fit to be the king. Okay? So this is why it was called edut. V'Adoniyav ben Chagit mitnaseh lemor ani emloch. So there was also another one we know David HaMelech, he had two sons that kind of rebelled against him. He had Avshalom, right? Avshalom, the famous rebellion of Avshalom. And then afterwards, towards the end of his days, there was also another one of his sons that didn't fully rebel, but he tried starting a rebellion. Who was this? This was Adoniah ben Chagit. Okay, and he in the beginning he made himself very popular. He made himself very showy. How did he do? Amal. He showed off himself. How did he do so? Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav, shemitnase leolmo velo olamto. He was trying to put the crown on his head that it should fit him, and it didn't work, and it didn't fit him. The continuation of the pasuk was what? Vayas lo rechev uparashim v'chamishim ish ratzim lefanav. How did Adoniah like show off and try to get people to follow him? He had himself a horse and a chariot, right? And he had 50 runners running before the chariots. What was so special about these 50 runners? Tana, kulam netule techol v'chakuke kapot haraglaim. All of them had their spleens removed, and they also had chakuke raglaim. It was like they said they would carve out the soles of their feet. What would they do? They would basically deaden all the nerves of their feet. This way, they can run on any surface without having to worry about the thorns or whatever it was, and they would be able to run like this for a long time because apparently the spleen sends warning signals to a person's body when the body is overworked. So the spleen causes the body to feel tired, and so that he should relax. So they remove this thing so that they can keep on running nonstop. Mishnah. Sha'al Proculus ben Plosphus et Rabban Gamliel be'ako. So Proculus, the son of Plosphus, okay, asked Rabban Gamliel in Ako. He was bathing in the bathhouse of Aphrodite. Okay? Amar lo, amar le, כתוב בתורתכם, it says in your Torah, לא ידבק בידך מאומה מן החרב. You're not allowed to benefit any way from Avodah Zarah. Okay? מפני מה אתה רוחץ במרחץ של אפרודיטי? So why are you bathing in the bathhouse of Aphrodite? אמר לו, אין מושיבין במרחץ. He told him that I can't answer you in the bathhouse. Why? Because you cannot learn Torah. When he came out, אמר לו, he told him, אני לא באתי בגבולה, היא באה בגבולי. I didn't come in her domain, she came into my domain. Meaning, the bathhouse was here before, and she came after, meaning that this bathhouse is not for Avodah Zarah. Okay? אין אומרים, נעשה מרחץ נוי לאפרודיטי, אלא אומר, נעשה אפרודיטי נוי למרחץ. Don't say that the מרחץ, the bathhouse, is coming to serve Aphrodite. Rather say Aphrodite is coming to decorate the bathhouse. דבר אחר, another thing, אם נתונים לך ממון, אי אתה נכנס לעבודת כוכבים שלך, ערום, are you going to come to if they give you a lot of money, he told him, would you come to your Avodah Zarah naked, uval keri, and impure, umashtin bifanea, and to urinate in front of it? זו עומדת על פי הביב, וכל העם משתינים לפניה. He said that this Avodah Zarah, this statue of Aphrodite, it's standing in front of I guess, the drain or something like this, and everyone over there is urinating in front of it. Okay? Lo ne'emar ela Elohehem, and it says that you have to be careful with their gods. Et shenahug bo mishum menuha, that which people use it as an avodah zarah. Okay. Et she'eno noheg bo mishum menuha mutar, but that which is not acted as worshipped as avodah zarah, it would be mutar. Basically, he was telling him that this avodah zarah that it's placed here, it's being used as bizayon. It's in a place of bizayon. So over here, it's showing. Over here, there's no concept of avodah zarah because it's so like this degrading for the avodah zarah to be there. This is not something that's being worshipped. The Gemara is going to ask about Baal Peor, and the Gemara is basically going to say that Baal Peor, the service of Baal Peor was to do that, but this one, the Aphrodite, the service wasn't to urinate in front of it. So the fact that they were urinating in front of it shows that it's zol, that it's not really avodah zarah. Says the Gemara, "V'hechi avid hachi." How was Rabban Gamliel able to respond to the goy? Okay. הכתיב והאמר רבא בר חנא אמר רבי יוחנן בכל מקום מותר להרהר חוץ מבית המרחץ ומבית הכיסא. You're able to think about Torah in any place besides for a bathhouse or a bathroom. Okay. Vaya, no. You're not allowed to think about Torah when you're in the bathroom. Okay. They say once about Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Bardichov, right? He was known always to speak good about Am Yisrael. He always would find good things to speak about Am Yisrael. So one time they came to him and they asked him, there's this Rasha over here. He's Rasha Merusha. He eats Chazir on Yom Kippur. He does all these things. What good can you say about someone like this? He does it bechavana le'achris HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He does it on purpose to anger HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What can you say good about him? He thought for a second and he said, I know what to tell you about him. I can promise you that this guy, he never thinks of Torah in the bathroom. So that's what they say. Even afilo yerekanim shebecha mele'im mitzvot karimon. Okay?
In the bathroom, in the toilet, if you have a bath, if there is no, it's a pas de toilette, c'est pas toilette, c'est juste une salle de bain.
No, that's why the bathhouse is also, it's a place where you're naked, a place where everyone is naked. You're not allowed to be there. It's tuma over there. Okay, there are places like the changing room where sometimes like this is different, but the actual bathhouse and the bathroom, the place where there's a toilet, asul.
Tu sais, shalom, you know, now. And you have to think what to.
Can't think Torah, no. Okay. וכי תימא בלשון חול אמר and if you're going to say that he spoke to him in a different language, okay? והאמר אביי דברים של חול מותר לאומרם בלשון הקודש, דברים של קודש אסור לאומרם בלשון חול. You can speak לשון הקודש, mundane things, but you cannot speak דברי תורה in a different language. Okay, תנא, כשיצא אמר לו אין משיבים במרחץ. So he says, no. What happened when he left? He told them, I couldn't answer you in the Bet HaMelchatz. Meaning to say, in the Bet HaMelchatz itself, even the halakha to say that I can't say Torah in the Bet HaMelchatz, you're not allowed to say in the Bet HaMelchatz. And only after he came out did he say this halakha to him. Amar Rabbi Chama bar Yosef beRebi, Amar Rabbi Yoshia, Teshuva Genuva Heshivo Rabban Gamliel leoto Hegmon. Rabban Gamliel gave him a very Ginuva, we can say like a stolen answer, but it basically means to say that he gave him like a not proper answer. Vani Omer, okay, eno Ginuva, but I say that it was not a worthless answer. Ma Ginuvte, what was so wrong about what he said? Dika Amar. Lo, that he told them, זו עומדת על פי אביו, וכל אדם משתין בפניה. וכי משתין בפניה. So what did Rabban Gamliel say? He said she's standing right by the drain, and everyone is urinating right in front of her. But wait a second, everyone is not urinating in front of her. Okay, וכין משתין בפניה, מה יהווה? So what if everyone is urinating in front of her? והאמר רבא פאור יוכיח שמפריעין לפניו בכל יום ואינו בטל. So he said here, the question you asked before, בעל פאור. People would mamash, they would relieve themselves completely in front of בעל פאור. This was the Avodah Zarah, and we see that it's still, was the Avodah Zarah. So he says, Vani Omer eno ginuva. It's not a bad answer. Why? Zu avodata bekach, v'zu en avodata bekach. Because Baal Peor, the way to worship Baal Peor was to do that. But this one, Aphrodite, was not the way to worship was not by urinating in front of it. So therefore, when a person urinates in front of it, he's degrading it. Amar Abaye gnuvta. So now Abaye says, no, it wasn't a good answer. Why? Mehacha. Because from here, deka amar le, ani lo bati bigvula, vihi ba'a bigvuli. I didn't come in her domain, she came into my domain. Vihi ba'a bigvula, may have. Okay, so what? If she, if even if it came into his domain, what's the problem? Ve'hatnan, didn't we learn in the Mishnah? Avodat kochavim sheyesh la melchatz o gina nehenin mehen shelo betova ve'en nehenin mehen betova. If there's a courtyard in front of Avodah Zarah, you're allowed to benefit from this Avodah Zarah as long as you're not grateful. If you're going to be grateful, then you're not allowed to benefit from it. Okay? So he said, so what? Even if you're going to tell me that the Avodah, what did Rabban Gamliel say? Rabban Gamliel said, the bathhouse was here before the Avodah Zarah, so therefore it should be allowed. So what? Even if the Avodah Zarah was before the bathhouse, even if the Avodah Zarah came first, and then the bathhouse came second, it should still be allowed as long as you're not grateful for it. ואני אומר, אינה גנובה. Why? שלא בטובת רבן גמליאל, כטובת אחרים דמי. So he says it's not a bad reason. Why? Because over here, the Avodah Zarah is going to have to be grateful to Rabban Gamliel, not Rabban Gamliel be grateful to the Avodah Zarah. Why? Since Rabban Gamliel was the Nasi, right? He was a very important person. The fact that he's there is going to cause more customers to come, more people to come. So therefore, the Avodah Zarah, quote unquote, should be grateful to him for coming there. Rav Simi Bar Chia Amar Gnuvata. Rav Simi Bar Chia said it wasn't a good answer what the Rabban Gamliel said. Why? Mehacha from here. Deka Amar Lo Zu Amedet al Habib V'chol Adam Meshtinin B'fanea V'chi Mishtanen B'fanea Mai Havi. So he said the same thing. What? It's standing in front of the drain and everyone is urinating in front of it. Even if it's standing, even if it's in front of the drain, what's the problem? V'hatnan Rak B'fanea Yishtin B'fanea Grira. Okay. וזרק בה את הצואה, הרי זו אינה בטלה. Okay? Now, if even if a person urinates in front of it, what's the problem? Didn't we learn that if a person urinates in front of Avodah Zarah, gerara, if he drags the Avodah Zarah, zarak ba et hatzoah, or throws in front of it excrement, הרי זו אינו בטלה. So why should the fact that everyone is standing and urinating in front of it cause the Avodah Zarah to be degraded and be okay to bath in that bathhouse? Vani omer ena ginuva. And I say, he says, that it wasn't a problem. Why? Hatam lefi shata hu ratach ala. Okay? That when we say that if the Avodah Zarah urinates in front of the Avodah Zarah, that it's not baten, is only if the Oved Kochavim, when he does it when he urinates in front of the Avodah Zarah, it was when he was angry at the Avodah Zarah. Okay? But then afterwards he's gonna make up, quote unquote, with Avodah Zarah. So he's gonna urinate in front of it because he's angry, and then he's gonna say apologize and make up with Avodah Zarah. So that's when the Avodah Zarah is not baten. Okay? But in this case, kol sha'ata v'sha'ata. Over here, it's constant, meaning it's not that he did it once out of anger and then that's it, he moves on. Over here, it was constantly urinating in front of it, so then there should be no excuse to say that it should be allowed. Rabba Bar Ula Amar Gnuvta. Rabba Bar Ula says it wasn't a good answer. What mehacha from here? Why? Because Rabban Gamliel told him, "En omrim naasa melchotz noy la'Aphroditi, ela naasa Aphroditi noy la'melchatz," because the bathhouse is not a decoration for the Avodah Zarah. Rather, the Avodah Zarah is a decoration for the bathhouse. V'chi amar naasa melchatz la'Aphroditi noy. And if you're going to say that the bathhouse became a decoration for the Avodah Zarah, what's the problem? V'hatanya ha'omer bait ze la'avodat kochavim, kos ze la'avodat kochavim lo amar klum. If a person says, if this house is going to be for Avodah Zarah, this cup is going to be for Avodah Zarah, it doesn't work. When does these things work? Only for Hekdesh, only for the Bet HaMikdash, but for Avodah Zarah it doesn't work. So even if he's going to say that this bathhouse is for the Avodah Zarah, what's the problem? Okay? Lo amar klum she'en hekdesh la'avodat kochavim. There's no such thing as hekdesh for avodat kochavim, only if he actually worships it. V'ani omer ena genuva. I say it's not a bad answer. Why? Nihi di'itzuri lo mistara noi miha ika. even if it doesn't become the 100% asul, right? But at the end of the day, it's still noi. It's still going to be a decoration for the Avodah Zarah, and as such, it wouldn't be proper for Rabban Gamliel to be there. So that's why it was going to be considered a good answer. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve'amen.